Hello, everybody. You know who this is by now. If you don't, I can't help you. A lot of you know me from my random vids all on YouTube and everything from sports to, cultural things like Denmark. But every once in a while, I have to have a serious side, and unfortunately, that's happening right now. I'm coming to you with a dilemma. People of Denmark, please hear my cries right now because I'm at a crossroads and I don't know how to fix it. I know right now in this world it's very difficult for everybody to get a job, not just including myself, because right now I'm becoming desperate. I have applied for over 500 jobs. I literally sat down last night and counted each of the applications to each job. Some I have not even heard back from. Some I have no clue what's happening. Others, mainly, and these are generally the mails that I'm getting back. Desværre, det blue die. So, it's really nerve-wracking right now because somebody asked me, said, hey, you're living overseas. Are you still living the American dream through Europe or through Denmark? I answered this question, and the more I answered it, the more I thought about it. The more I thought about it, the more it made me, more it kind of upset me. I'm the type that I really could use a job. What I'm getting at is, I could say that I am living the American dream, but my current dream is not being unemployed, sitting on my ass. It kills me because I'm literally watching my wife work for two people. I moved over here because of my wife, who is Danish, in hopes to get away from the current situation that I was back in the States. Because in the States, I was working a unstable job. When I say unstable, there was no set time. I mean, I was working full time, but the more I worked hard and tried to make ends meet and to make that paycheck to work month by month just to make it, it just wasn't enough. Besides that, there were also some family things that it wouldn't have worked out. So I came over here thinking that would change. The family situation has changed, but the working situation has become worse. A lot of you people know that I currently used to work with Vestas. Vestas is a great company. Unfortunately, right now, Vestas is not doing well. I'll leave it at that. I'm no longer working there because cutbacks, if you want to call it that. They're also, I think I just heard, they're also losing a lot of money right now, a lot. So it's killing me that my wife is basically working ridiculous amounts of hours just to make ends meet. Literally to the point she's up right now in our bedroom trying to sleep because A, she's sick, and B, our kid was sick, but now she's getting a little bit better. But of course, she's the one getting up, and I do try to get up and I help, but she just has this relationship with her mother. Now, back to what I was getting at. I have applied for Relocation. I have applied for a bunch of temp agencies. I've applied for service medarbejder, layer medarbejder, almost anything you can think of, even a janitor. I've even applied for a janitor. And better yet, even McDonald's. Now, over in the States, McDonald's is like the lowest low tier that you can get for a job. Over here, it's somewhat of a higher priority. You can still work McDonald's and you can get paid. You can really get paid, but you ain't got to bust your butt to work the fry machine. Now, a lot of you are going to ask, well, why don't you just get an education? I did do an education and I didn't finish through with it because it was a little bit too hard for me. I didn't have the resources to complete some of the tasks at home. So I was too far behind. I was slacking a little bit, and they kind of just kept going. They're not over here in Europe, especially Denmark, the education is not the curriculum is not built the way it is in the States. Where it's like, you start section one, we stay on section one for about 2 weeks. You take a test or a pre-test, we go a little bit further in depth into section one, and then we take a big time test, then we go into section two. If you pass, congratulations. If you didn't, you better get on the ball. They don't do it like that. It's here's the information, do what you gotta do. And I could not absorb that fast enough. So I have taken the education. I have SU. I don't want to throw that away trying to get another education for something I don't feel comfortable with. And what I'm getting at now is the Danish language. Selvfølgelig, jeg snakker dansk, det er ikke en problem. Jeg kan godt nok forstå dansk, jeg kan læse dansk, jeg kan skrive dansk. Det er ikke en problem. Mit problem med dansk er, jeg er mere bange for, hvis der er en eller anden en lærer, der snakker som en hurtig dansk, og der har ikke tålmodighed at snakke langsomt for mig to forstå. So as you can understand, if you're Danish, you understood what I just said. I would much rather take an education where I feel secure that I know what the teacher is saying, instead of me sitting there and they're talking 50 miles an hour and I don't grasp any of it. But what this all boils down to is I'm desperate. I don't know what to do. I've sent in so many applications, and it's depressing. It's depressing when it comes back, because I know in the States, if I'd applied for this exact same job, granted, if you had an education or not, if I'd applied for the exact same job, I probably would have nailed it. Probably would have got it. I don't know what else to do. I have gone to job centers. I know there are some people be like, why don't you go to a job center in Denmark? I've done that. If you want to know some of my history, I have worked jobs. I have worked jobs. Before we moved over here to Jylland, I was working I was working in Copenhagen, because my wife was still taking her education. I've worked at a Fotex. I worked at like 2 or 3 mail post places, and these were big time jobs then. Now I moved over here to Jylland because my wife was finished her education and she landed a job at Vestas. So there you go, we need to move over. And plus, her family is close to Jylland, so it made it easier for her to visit her family and friends. We come over here to Jylland, and I was very lucky to get the job that I did with Vestas. And I was only there for like 2.5, 3 years. But the reason I got that is through my wife. My wife literally went and asked her boss, who was super nice, do you have like a student job or something like that for my husband? And I got signed on. But my title was as a student worker. So of course, when Vestas decided to go through these big firing rounds, the first thing to go was student workers. So I pay them, So I have experience with jobs. There's not a problem with that. The thing is, I keep applying for these jobs, and these people keep rejecting me. And I've gotten now to the point where rejection it's not fun. It's not cool anymore. It's driving me nuts, actually. So I don't get where I should go. I don't know what I should do. And I am begging. I am literally, it's been 4 months since I was released from Vestas. It's been 4 months. I basically worked through Christmas and everything, and granted, spirits were kind of high, but it's getting back to reality. If I don't find a job really soon, we're gonna have to take our daughter out of Augustine. I really don't want to do that. We're gonna have to sell our car, because we can't do things if we don't have a car. It's very difficult. I mean, it's not difficult. I mean, there's always a bus, but I mean, you can't always drag your kid out in the cold weather. And then there are other things, higher important things, like we're going to Florida. Luckily, we saved enough money before I got fired that we can go to Florida to go visit my parents. But next year, if this line of unemployment for me continues, it's going to be horrible. And I want my mom to see her granddaughter. So that's why, again, I am asking, if you are Danish, hvis du er dansk, og du kender et eller andet sted i Randers, fordi jeg bor i Randers Nordvest. Jeg skal virkelig bruge for hjælp lige nu. Altså, jeg er meget desperat. Det ved jeg ikke, hvad jeg skal gøre nu. Altså, hvis du kender et eller andet, der kender et eller andet, der kender en job og kender en plads og et eller andet, skriv til mig så hurtigt som muligt, please. Altså, I really don't know what else to do or where else to go or where else to turn. Not even a job place or hotline is helping me anymore. Not that they don't want to help me, it's just like, what else can I do? They've used up all their resources to try to get me going somewhere, and it just doesn't work. So, please, again, this is a cry out to everyone and anyone in Denmark. I don't particularly like making videos like this. It makes me look like, I'm some type of petty, poor, begging person. But then again, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. And this is what I'm doing. Så jeg har virkelig brug for hjælp, Danmark. Please hjælp mig. If you kender et eller andet, der har en job, altså, og det skal være fuldtids. Det skal ikke være deltids. Men jo, jeg kan selvfølgelig tage deltid. Det er ikke et problem. And again, before I close out this video, I know somebody's going to ask, what about A-kasse? I was a student worker, and the other jobs were very short, deltids. So I could not afford A-kasse. I'm aware A-kasse is there for help, but some of the reason I can't get it because there's so many hours you can work, and I'm following the Danish immigrant rules. If this continues, I'm very afraid that I'm going to get sent back to the States, and my daughter and my wife are going to be left here behind. One, because I think my passport ends up this year. That also ties into my uppehållstilladelse. So I'm trying to get all these points, and I'm trying to do all this stuff that the Danish government requires me that I have to do. But the last thing is I have to have like 2 years of full-time work. That would be great if I can get hired by a job. Within those 2 years, I can also get A-kasse. So if anything bad happens, I got some money to fall back on. So again, this is, I can't say it enough, this is a big time desperate cry for help. Please help me. Hjælp mig, rigtig meget. If you know anybody, if you know of a job, I am totally aware of urfa.dk, jobcenter.dk, all those stupid sites. I've applied to all of them. And I think I have an account for all of them. Nothing's working. Please help me. Please help me. If you know anybody, know something, please leave a comment down below. Or I will leave, or what you can also ultimately do is, in the info section, there's a link to Facebook fan page. Please send your helpful sites and comments and things over there as well too, please. Okay? I thank you so much. I apologize for pulling the majority of your time if you thought this was going to be an interesting vid. Again, I need help, and this is a cry for help. Please, Denmark, people in Jylland, please hear my cry.